クイーン第3の爆弾バイツァーダスト
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
This is the perfect moment for our revenge.
Hello, again, this is Umbra, Lord of the Rees, Master of Autism, and the Scourge of Chicken Tendies. Today's going to be a little different as I am running this a bit more off the cuff. This is my follow-up to my last video, so this makes this episode 5.5. Now, I promised an update regarding the Puritan situation, the group of people that have been basically calling for censorship of games they don't like. We have Melanie Mack, we have Dread Roberts, we have Jon Del Arroz, we have Razorfist, and we have the Trent guy. Now, I believe he's from That Park Place, I believe. I'll let my editor and wife fact check me on that one. So, to get right into it, there's been a lot of back and forth and a lot of evolutions of what was going on. Now, I've come to the realization that there's been a number of defenses that have tried to be used for Dread Roberts and particularly Melanie Mack, especially by people like Razorfist. Before I get into the controversies that recently affected them, I wanted to discuss the logic they're using. So, I want to take you all back to Basic Logic 101. And what I mean by that is, I believe the term for this logical form is transitive property. This is recognized as a valid logical form. That means that if there is an argument made in that logical form and all of the premises are valid, then the conclusion must be valid. You cannot form an invalid conclusion in a valid logical form assuming that all of the premises are considered to be correct. So, they say that we shouldn't be criticizing Melanie Mack because she never explicitly called for censorship. Well, yes, that can be debated, and I have my own proof that she did call for censorship. Let's actually take this logical form, right? The logical form goes like this. If A equals B and C equals A, then C must equal B. In this case, if A, porn, must be B, banned, and then the first descendant, C, is also porn, it goes to follow that the first descendant should be censored or banned. Simple logic. People seem to have some difficulty with this. Now, you don't have to specifically call directly for censorship to call for censorship.
Find them! Find them! Find them, Chet! We must make them suffer!
That is actually the guise that Anita Sarkeesian herself used when she said, "I'm not here to ban your games. I'm just here to critique them." And they got censored. And censored. And censored. So, yeah, it's a fallacy to assume that just because somebody hasn't actually explicitly said it means that they definitely don't hold that logic. I believe that actually falls under an argument to ignorance. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Now, since then, we have seen both Jon Del Arroz and Razorfist come out in defense of Melanie Mack. These two individuals have been caught basically being as bad, if not worse, than the people they were, well, calling Gooners. For example, Jon Del Arroz, was caught posting ridiculous amounts of furry-based adult materials on his Twitter. Yes. He was caught posting furry porn. Not just any furry porn. My Little Pony porn and Pokemon porn. Let that sink in for you. The guy who thinks that you're a Gooner because you think the outfits in First Descendant are attractive and fine. The same person openly posted My Little Pony and Pokemon porn. I almost have no words. Now, when it comes to Razorfist, some recent allegations came to light. Now, I do have to take a moment to thank my wonderful wife, since she actually managed to collect most of this information. But apparently, he was caught, essentially, engaging in relations with somebody who was 15 at the time they met. And as far as we can tell, waited until she was 18 to initiate in any relationships. Now, at least physically. So, I understand that that might technically fall within the bounds of legality. However, it is morally corrupt, at the very least. And this guy is the same guy who is calling us Gooners. Yes. So, I really have to question, what gives these people the right? Now, this is going to tie into another part of what I have to say about this, and I'm actually kind of hopeful. So, we've all seen these cycles happen. Usually it's the right or the left goes too far, and then the other extreme takes over, and then guess what? Now we're in the other extreme, and then that takes over for a while, and then we end up going back and forth with censorship and all kinds of garbage. Well, I think actually the internet has allowed us to somewhat break this cycle. So if we go back to the last major change, right, which was in the early 2000s, the change before that was started pretty much in the late 70s. So if we really think about it, right, last time the major pendulum shift occurred, there was almost 30 years of time in between. That's enough time that the people that were active politically at that point in time were no longer really that active. And anybody that did remembered it through rose-tinted glasses, nostalgia glasses, if you will. However, this time around, it's 2025. The last major shift didn't really start till the late 2000s. So let's say about 15 years or so. 15 years ago, many of us were either starting to be active or active. We remember the excesses of the right in the 90s and the 2000s.
One of the most vicious games is called Mortal Kombat. The objective is to finish off your opponent violently.
Blood dies, D&D will give you AIDS. Then you'll go to hell with all the Catholics and Jews and play Magic the Gathering with Satan.
We remember the Mass Effect sex box scandal on Fox News. That was hilarious. We remember the Mortal Kombat scares. We remember how Christian conservatives and radical feminists both conspired together to censor media that was quote unquote too sexy. All of that was a problem then. And now we have these people pushing for the same thing. Except this time, we remember the excesses of the other side. Now, I do want to say, I don't care what your leanings are. I don't care if you're more lefty or more right or whatever else have you. At the end of the day, having a neutral center is something that is beneficial for all of us. And we want to preserve that, even if you're not a centrist. If you have any form of faith and confidence in your own stances, then you will not mind them being scrutinized. You will not mind a central area of discussion that is neutral to everyone, because you have confidence that your ideas will win. The only reason to attempt to control that center point is because you believe that if your ideas are challenged, they will be defeated.
That's called motherfucking bars, nigga! You know nothing about that!
Taking over those points of the center is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of faithlessness in your own stances. Now, as we're going here, we've got Pokemon aficionados publishing. That's what I'm just going to call it. With Jon Del Arroz, and we have Sweet Bowser Inc. with Kim Belair. I can't think of a more perfect analogy for the horseshoe theory. The further along you go, and the louder they are about how much they should control what you see and enjoy, usually the more calcium that you're gonna find. Now, I understand that this is something that is more aggressive towards people that would be treated as anti-woke. However, an inability to hold their own accountable is exactly what made the woke people so easy to overthrow. Now, we can't be doing that same thing. We just can't. We have two distinct wings in the anti-woke movement. We have those who are against the censorship and the forced diversity pushing of DEI in the woke crowd. And then we have individuals that wanted to censor DEI stuff. Or rather, I should say, they wanted to censor what they believed to be quote, end quote, woke things, which are not themselves actually woke. It's the application of critical theory. They actually completely misunderstand the whole thing, but that's neither here nor there, and I could spend hours talking about that. I guess what I want to say, more than anything else, is that just because we had the same enemy doesn't mean that they're on our side. And I will openly state where my side sits. I'm against censorship. I am against forced expression, and I am also against forced repression. I want an open marketplace of ideas where the market can decide what sinks and what floats. And if you have no faith in the fact that your stance will float, you may want to recognize that you might not really believe in your stance. As we are seeing with Jon Del Arroz's focus on furry adult materials, and now Razorfist with these allegations involving, well, for lack of a better word, grooming.
Dear God.
The allegations of Razorfist actually go deeper than just the baseline potentially being a 30-year-old man and grooming a 15-year-old girl. There are also allegations of abusive behavior with some receipts, as well as a porn addiction. So, yeah, the guy that is screaming about how bad porn is and wants to ban it for you is also the guy that allegedly cannot control himself and compulsively uses porn. Reset the clock, right? When it comes to Jon Del Arroz, another salient point to bring up was that there's actually a court order for a restraining order from his wife involving potential domestic violence. So, once again, these are the kinds of people that feel comfortable telling you about what's right and what's wrong, but they're also out here doing these things, and they want us to take them seriously.
You know the rules, and so do I. Say goodbye.
Make of it what you will. There are enough receipts that I personally believe there may be some merit to these claims. And to be honest with you, it fits the pattern. So we'll continue to see how things go. But as it stands, I don't think these people have any right to be telling any of us what we should and shouldn't like. Mind you, the basic stuff, the liking furry stuff, like, I mean, I'm not about that life, but, you know, you do you. Just don't do that and then expect to tell me whether or not I'm allowed to like what I like. If these are really the voices that are leading what you have to say, are they really something that you can stand behind? Mind you, Jon Del Arroz has gone so far off the walls that he actually not only has attacked several people, including Smash JT, but he has also tried to compare himself to Jesus. I am not making this up. Look right there. Look. It's right there. He compared himself to Jesus. He compared people telling him his ideas were bad to the passion of Christ. Like, this man is not a real Christian. A real Christian would not do this. They would recognize it for the actual blasphemy that it is. Anyway. So, that's really what I had to say. And I just want to thank you guys for coming by and watching this. It's a little more off the cuff, but I do hope that it was enjoyable. And if you have any thoughts, feelings, ideas, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me. Leave a comment. Please like, please subscribe. All of those things help me out. I'm a small channel saying unpopular things with the YouTube algorithm. I can use all the help I can get. Thank you very much for your time, and I do hope you all have a wonderful evening. And as always, never forget, passion is nothing to be ashamed of.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.